Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Patrick. It's after work. It's 4:45 in the evening on Thursday. And a little bit late right now because I swung by the school to pick my sister up, but she was a no-show, so I turned around and left. I had a pretty good shift today. I had 4 visits, and then it turned into 5, and then the admitting nurse took one of them from me, so I was back down to 4, so that was pretty manageable. I discharged somebody from hospice today, which is something I don't think I've ever done before. So, of course, I'm going to have, a mountain of paperwork to do later on as a result of that. But, it was a patient that was just doing really well. They were stable, and they were like a regular Medicare patient. They didn't have a skilled need for observation, so, set them up with some companionship agencies and stuff like that, because the primary caregiver really just needed like an hour here or there of somebody to sit with the patient so he could go outside and do yard work and stuff like that. So we weren't really fulfilling any particular skill need there, but we're always there to come back later if there's a decline later on. We can always just jump right back in. So that's nice. There's some flexibility there. It's kind of interesting how the decisions get made to allocate resources where they're going to do the most good, which is something that you have to do when your resources are limited. What else happened today? Talked to some doctors on the phone. That's always a good time. Giving the doctors a hard time about the medications they prescribe. That's always fun. Yeah, apparently it's not a good idea to take 2 different benzodiazepines at the same time. So we put a stop to that. I haven't touched the pain presentation since the deadline got moved back to a couple of weeks from now. I'm gonna have to start buckling down and working on that again. I've been asking around for some advice from the people who are actually going to put together the handouts, and the executive director and a couple of other nurses. I got some advice from them. So I'm gonna do the best I can to replace as much of those bulleted lists with pictures as I can. I walked around to my old nursing school. It's the new nursing school now. The one that I went to is all torn down and refurbished. But I walked around where my previous clinical faculty are now teaching, and I got to catch up with a couple of them. That was really fun. It's kind of like check in with them, see how they're doing, and let them know how I'm doing or what I'm up to. And got some career advice from them and some school advice. That's always nice. I should try to do that more often. Just kind of like swing by and say hi to people. There was a few teachers there who are really awesome, so it's nice to stay in touch with them. One of my former advisors in my previous nursing education clued me into the fact that my plan to retake microbiology to circumvent the RN to BSN program may not work. And I'm going to have to, run it through my track advisor, but that will be really frustrating if that's true. Because my plan originally, as you may recall, was to retake microbiology, which was the only class I got a C in, to raise my GPA from 3.17 to 3.2, which would let me skip all of the bachelor's degree classes and go straight to grad school. But as this former advisor of mine pointed out, that may not actually work, because if I do retake the class, it would not necessarily cancel out the grade that I had previously obtained in it, which would be terribly frustrating and would probably lead me to seek alternatives, because I just can't see myself slogging through another year and a half of these really easy hundreds level fluff classes. There's just no reason. There's no way I can justify spending thousands of dollars on Religious Studies 102 or the Universal Human Search for Truth, Justice, and the Common Good and bullshit like that. Because I am acing all these classes without opening the textbooks or without even really thinking about it all that much, and it's really kind of an insulting waste of my time. We'll see. I'll try to phrase it more delicately when I talk to my actual track advisor at SHU. We'll see how that goes. But if I did retake microbiology, I would not retake it at the school that I did the rest of my classes in, because there's only one teacher that you can take microbiology from at that school, And the only thing I learned in that class was how hard it was to grow up black in the South. Because that was pretty much all he talked about. That and how gross STDs were. So I'm definitely not taking that class over again, that's for sure. Maybe I could take a couple of the classes that I got B's in over again and get A's in those, and that will have the same effect. But, like my former advisor pointed out, that may not be a strategy that'll work. Well, you know, the alternative is that I could triple up on the classes instead of doubling up on them. That would get me through faster, but that would cost a lot more money. But I could always take out a loan. I've been paying out of pocket so far, which is pretty manageable because it works out to only be like $1,500-1,600 bucks every 8 weeks, which is nothing. It does kind of put a crimp in my buying a house and a new laptop plans, but that's alright. Yeah, I actually turned down another visit to go pick up my sister from school, and now I'm not doing either one. It's kind of a shame. Loving this rain. I don't know if you can... Yeah, you can see this behind me. There's a bunch of rain. I like driving around in the rain. Driving when there's no rain is kind of boring and routine, but when there's rain or snow, it's a little more interesting. A little more of a challenge. Not much more, mind you, but more opportunities to fail catastrophically, which is always fun. Maybe that's a gender thing, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what to do with article handouts for this presentation, because I did want to hand out a few different articles, but I'm looking at the lengths of them and I'm thinking, maybe I can cut out like some of the stuff, like cut out the reference lists, or trim it back a little bit, because there's like 3 or 4 articles I want to hand out, and they're like 10 pages a piece, and it would kind of be a burden on the office copiers to print out like 50 copies of a 40-page handout. I guess it is kind of wasteful, considering most of the people probably just throw in the trash on their way out anyway. There's a couple of good video games coming out soon. I'm pretty excited about that. It's always nice to have something fun to do to unwind. I think Rage is coming out on Tuesday. That should be fun. I pre-ordered a bunch of games and forgot about them, so it'll be a pleasant surprise when I can just suddenly play them with no warning. That'll be great. Those content distribution services are the way to go, specifically Steam. It's great. Lots of interesting indie games on there. Oh, now is a green line, good. So I'm working Saturday and Sunday. That's part of the whole deal of being full-time, so I'll be working all through the weekend. And then I picked up a Sunday overnight, too. So I'll have one of those rare days on Sunday where I'm going to be billing for a consecutive 24 hours. Oh, I've got so much routine paperwork to do tonight. I'm really not looking forward to it. I'd really like to find a faster way to do the computerized charting. It's not an open system, predictably, but maybe I can kind of hack together some kind of front end for it and make the input easier. The keyboard shortcuts make things a little bit easier, but since, like most products of this type, it's kind of sloppily coded, not all of the customary Windows shortcuts work. Not because they've been replaced by other shortcuts, they just were never implemented, which is really kind of lazy. I guess I can see why they decided to do that, though, because most of the people using the software would not be aware of those Windows shortcuts. I'm talking about things like keyboard shortcuts and tab and shift tab works, like for tabbing forwards and backwards through fields, so that's good. And holding down control to select multiple things in a list works, which is good, because that's what I would expect to work. But there are other little glitches and hiccups, like if you highlight a piece of text and then you paste text from the clipboard over it, then the text will be appended instead of overwritten, which is really an odd choice, because that's completely different from how every other application works. Even on a Macintosh, you know, that's just one of those standard user interface elements. And then you can tell that the product that I'm talking about is Suncoast. I don't know if any of you have ever used Suncoast, but apparently it's pretty popular in hospice and home care circles. But you know, this particular implementation of it that we're using is like obviously built on top of the ruins of an older like iteration of the software. You like open up this one program and then you press a button to open up another program that's like called forth from the first one, and really like anybody who uses it for any length of time will notice that they're opening and closing windows a lot more often than they really should need to be. And they do a lot of funny things to, you know, lock out focus in some cases. I should really make a list of all of my user interface design gripes about this piece of software. Supposedly, they're open to us requesting like customized features, like they'll code special versions of it for us. And you know, I don't know how they would take it if I submitted a list of like normal user interface design elements and just said like, hey, why don't you get off your lazy butts and make this program work the way programs are supposed to work, so we can all stop tearing our hair out. I feel sorry for the rest of the full-timers who are using company-issued hardware, because just opening a remote terminal into the server is so much smoother, and I see a lot of frustration in my coworkers that arise from the fact that, you know, this and every other electronic medical information system exhibits symptoms of having been designed by first-year CS students, I guess. I mean, I guess that's what you'd call it. Maybe I'm just being grouchy about it because I'm a CSE dropout myself, so I know just enough about it to be incensed by the poor design choices. But not enough about it to actually make something better, so there you go. I didn't eat lunch today, I'm very hungry. I really should remember to eat lunch more often. I've got to find like somewhere good to eat on the road, because I end up just like stopping at Wendy's and Dunkin' Donuts a lot. That really can't be good for me. When I went to the walk-in clinic for my respiratory ailment, I noticed my weight was up. So maybe I should go back to making those steel-cut oats, put them in a thermos or something. But I have to pick stuff that I'm not going to get all over my scrubs and my lab coat, which I have hung up in the back. So that kind of limits me to finger foods, and I don't know what it is about finger foods, but a lot of them just plain aren't good for you. Well, I did something very smart yesterday and got all of my homework for the week done, so despite all of the documentation I'm going to have to do today and all the other BS, at least I won't have to worry about a homework deadline on Friday. So I think this is the first time in all of the 4 classes that I've taken at this place so far that I didn't wait until the last possible second to submit my homework. So I guess it's sort of like a passive-aggressive show of disdain for what they're putting in front of me. But yeah, this time I did it a little differently. Well, that's it. I hope you're all having a good week, and if not, tough shit.